Hey everybody, welcome to the theescapepods.com YouTube introduction. I am Jeffrey Wettig and I run a podcast website called theescapepods.com. On it, I do a sailing podcast called Shooting the Breeze Sailing, which is my main focus. And then on the side, I do one called Hootenanny Down the Hall. And someday I might do a third one about whatever, but I haven't really developed that at all. But for now, I just wanted to show you what I'm into and what I hope to accomplish with getting a little bit of a YouTube presence going on. This is my webpage, theescapepods.com. It's all one word, theescapepods.com. On it, you can see all my episodes. It's a WordPress based website, and I have all my recent articles, which are podcasts for the most part. Some of it is links or videos or things that I posted. But like right now, you can see the last two episodes I did was 28 and 29, and they were chats with Kamau Ian Datiero. He's a Baltimore guy who is into sailing, and he's building his own boat. And I caught up with him back in the fall, and then just did an update with him back in May and June. But he kind of is the one that's pushing me. He's like, you got to get a YouTube presence. It's all free. Just do it. So I was like, all right, when I get back from vacation here, I'll screw around with YouTube and maybe see if I can get a little bit of a YouTube presence on my channel. So Kamau is on YouTube, Ian Datiero. This is his subscription page here, and you can see that he's got a bunch of videos that he posts, and then he's into a couple of these other pages that I'm just now getting familiar with. Drake Paragon's Real Sailing, I guess, Real Cruising Life, and then Sail Life, which is run by this guy, Mads, and he just did a thing with Kamau last week, 2 days ago. Went for a car ride, and I guess Mads on Sail Life is then going to have a feature on Kamau. And then what was funny is last week I was cruising on the bay for a week, me and my girlfriend, and we ended up in Annapolis for 3 days. And the tall ship Bahamian was in, and these guys, Sailing Nervous and Mads, got together in Annapolis to look at boats. And so I was just watching all that this morning. It was pretty cool. I was like, man, if you just scrolled to the left of the ship a little bit, you can see my boat floating in the mooring field. But anyway, this is Kamau's page. He's got a bunch of updates on his boat and what they're doing. He laid the keels down. You can hear all that on the podcast, all the update. But he's getting into some of the nuts and bolts of the woodworking that he has to do and some of the planning that's going on. But anyway, and I also started watching Sean Sailing. This guy looks like he's been doing a bunch of sailing, but his new venture here is more about his boat that he just got last year, and he's doing a thing called Three Sheets to the Wind, and I just watched the first three episodes, so I haven't seen episode number 4 yet. But it's kind of lighthearted stuff at what he has to do to get this boat ready for some sailing up in the Great Lakes. So that's all pretty cool. Basically, for me personally, my sailing, I belong to Hamptons Point Yacht Club up in the Northeast River in Maryland. Um, it's a do-it-yourselfer kind of club, kind of low key. Lots of cool members. They just a bunch of them just went out on a 2 week cruise, and I was able to catch up with them on the last leg of their journey there. I guess they just put up a bunch of pictures and stuff of this last 2 week cruise. Day 10, it's like a whole blog going on with where they went. They ended up down to Tangier Island and got some pictures. Really cool stuff if you want to check it out. So if you want to find us, you can go to Facebook and do a search for the Shooting the Breeze Sailing podcast. It's right there. I do have another page for the Hootenanny Down the Hoot Hall. Hootenanny Down the Hall. So get rid of that mess. There we go. Bang. Hootenanny Down the Hall Music Podcast. And what's funny about this is I went sailing for a week and I ended up getting more material for my music podcast in the last 2 weeks than I have for the sailing podcast. Before I went on the trip, I caught Emily Grove, who I met via opening for this man, David Ford, who I'm a really big fan of. She's from Asbury Park, and caught her downtown Lancaster opening for Jessica Schmucker. So I got to interview both of them and do some recording. You can see this is a band called the Ogham Stones. They do like an Irish Celtic thing, and they're the ones I use a lot of their music in my sailing podcast as well. So it's kind of like just kind of cross whatever. And then when I was down in Annapolis, I went to Rams Head Live and saw Panic is Perfect and a band called The Hunts, which are really good. I'm going to try and get all that put together in the next couple of weeks. But they got some really cool music. So anyway, back to the sailing podcast, Shooting the Breeze. You can see on this page I post all the episode links and other stuff that comes my way. Someone's selling a marine sextant that I know. And then here is Pegasus, my boat, a PY-26 pace ship from 1974. It's under sale last week during our cruise. You can see it there. It was a pretty sporty day out just south of Pools Island. And I also posted some video, which I want to get up on YouTube, which kind of marries into what I'm doing here. Is I wanted to make sure I get some video presence on YouTube. And this is a video of the La Hermione leaving Annapolis last week. So you can check that out. It didn't sail out, it went out under motor, but anyway, you get the gist. And then also I've got some pictures with Andy Shell, his boat Eastbjorn, which is a Swan 48. There it is, or there it was. It's used to be called Patriot. They just bought that. They're doing adventure sailing, but he does a podcast called 59 Degrees North Sailing Podcast, and that's kind of what I'm about doing here, is trying to develop a Chesapeake Bay based kind of sailing community where people could talk to each other and enjoy each other's videos and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. Definitely check out 59 North. Also, of course, if you're on the bay, you know about Spin Sheet Magazine. They're kind of the catch-all for anything bay-related, sailing, race results, things going on around Annapolis, the lower bay, upper bay. They definitely have a online presence here. That definitely pick up the magazine when you're anywhere around the bay. Find it in any marine shop or marina or whatever. And then also I got to interview, aside from the people from the club, which is what I started out doing, I was able to branch out and start interviewing other people. And so many people will recognize Paul and Cheryl Shard from Distant Shores Television. I have an episode with them. They're a great couple that cruise around the world, not really the world, but around the Atlantic basin, I guess, and have some real helpful stuff. It's more of like a travel show when they get to whatever destination they're in, but they're definitely getting there by boat, and they have to keep and live and maintain this boat almost year round. So they're a really cool resource. And then also I got to interview Marcus Asante. He's a Baltimore sailor. He runs the Marine Arts Institute here. He is part of the African American community down in Baltimore, and he definitely is trying to get them more involved in sailing, and just not even sailing, but the marine maritime industry. He's a professional. He can fix your boat, and he can guide you as to how and when to apply yourself into the industry. So he's a great resource. Check out the interviews that I did with him. And like I said, back to the Hans's point, when I got started, I just was doing stories about the guys I sail with, and kind of branched out from there, and end up going to the boat shows, and right now I'm trying to interview some people with different aspects on the bay. And let's see, Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy, there it is. I'm going to try and get involved in interviewing a gentleman who helps run the Skipjack Martha Lewis, the Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy. It's getting redone right now, and they're having a fundraising effort and all that kind of stuff. But I've been out on the bay with the Martha Lewis before, so I'm going to get into that hopefully in the next couple weeks. And I'm definitely up for interviewing anybody that's got any kind of bay experience, or connection, because I want to be Chesapeake Bay specific, because Andy's kind of got the ocean sailing thing covered, and furled sails and the wooden boat guys, like they all have their own little niche, and I want to be the Chesapeake Bay podcast. So hope you enjoy that. Head over to theescapepods.com. You can find me at theescapepods, all one word, on Twitter. You can find me at jeffrey.wettig@gmail.com. And you can find us on iTunes if you do a search for either of the Shooting the Breeze Sailing or the Hootenanny Down the Hall Music Podcast. If you have any suggestions or comments or whatever, just drop me an email. Thanks for checking us out, and we're going to develop the YouTube page here a little bit, and I hope you enjoy it.